So let's go ahead and start learning a little bit about ArcGIS Pro. Moving forward. First, a little bit about myself. My name is Tripp Corbin. I've got over 20 years of surveying and mapping experience. I'm looking through the list of names logged in. I see a lot of names I recognize, so many of y'all know me. I am the CEO and co-founder of eGIS Associates. We're a firm based here in Georgia that provides GIS services, everything from needs assessments and strategic planning to full-blown training, um, up to integration and application development services and all those kind of things. So do a lot. I am the president-elect of ERISA, so I'm still active in the GIS community. I like to give back. I'm also a board member on Southeast GITA. That's a chapter here that covers Georgia, Alabama, and Tennessee. So I'm very excited about that. I've gotten multiple certifications over the course of my career. Many of y'all probably have heard me talk about or see me post about the GISP certification. I've been very active with the GISCI as a member of the Application Review Committee and conducting many workshops about the GISP application process, and been recently talking a lot about the new test that they've implemented that. I'm also a certified floodplain manager and a Microsoft certified professional. I did spend a few years as an IT guy, as a network administrator and systems engineer. So I got a lot of Microsoft certifications during that time. I've also got several Esri certifications. I've got the Desktop Professional, Enterprise System Design Associate, Desktop Associate, and I was also an Esri certified trainer up until they shut that program down at the end of last year. So, and then lastly, I've got my CompTIA technical trainer certification as well. And one of my biggest things that I'm really excited about is I'm now the author of Learning ArcGIS Pro. It's a new book coming out this December from Packet Publishing that, to the best of my knowledge, is one of the first books about ArcGIS Pro that will be out there, even beating Esri Press there. So what we hope to do during this webinar, I'm going to introduce ArcGIS Pro and some of its functionality, obviously in the limited time that we have, about 45 minutes to an hour or so. I can't go over everything, no more than you could with ArcMap or ArcCatalog, but I'm going to start showing you some of its functionality and how things work. We want to cover some of the install requirements. This is a much more robust program than ArcMap and ArcCatalog, so it requires a little bit more computing power to support it. So we'll do that. And then we'll talk a little bit about some of the things that it won't do right now, some of the limitations of the application in this latest version, 1.1.1, I think is the most current version. We'll do about 30 to 40 minutes here of information and demo, and then I'll follow that up by 15 minutes or so of questions and answer. You can go ahead, many of y'all have already figured out the question pane and can put that in there to type questions, and I'll try to respond to as many of those as I can in that time period. And of course, after this, if y'all want to contact me with some specific questions or things you think up afterwards, please feel free to do so. I'll provide that contact information to you towards the end of things. So we will continue on. So ArcGIS Pro, as I said, this is Esri's latest and greatest desktop application. It's been a long time since Esri's really released a new app like this. I guess the last time they did something this big was when ArcGIS first came out and replaced ArcInfo Workstation in ArcView 3.x. 3.3, I guess, was the last version of that one that came out. Okay, it is fully 64-bit enabled. Unlike ArcMap and ArcCatalog, which are primarily 32-bit, and I say primarily because there is the 64-bit geoprocessing patch you can install, but for the most part, it's still just a 32-bit application. Being 64-bit, ArcGIS Pro is better situated to take full advantage of modern hardware. right? So it is or does support hyper-threading within it. It can use pretty much as much RAM as you want to throw at it. Um, so it really can run faster and better on current computers that are all 64-bit architecture. I do see a quick question from Tom. I'll go ahead and respond to that. Is the app really 3 years out from release? No, it's not. It's already out. Version 1.1 is out now. Actually, they just did a release of 1.1.1, which was an update to it, so it is out. I'll answer the. We'll get a copy of the slide. We'll actually post a recording of today's session that you can get to, and you'll find out more about that after the end of the webinar. So, yeah. Okay. So good question. So kind of continuing on here. Another nice thing about ArcGIS Pro is the fact you can do 2D and 3D all in one application. So in the past, if we wanted to work with 3D data, we would have to have the 3D Analyst extension and then go into ArcScene or ArcGlobe in order to build 3D views, or possibly get into City Engine and use that. Well, now within ArcGIS Pro, we can build both 2D and 3D maps all in one application. You can view and symbolize, display, whatnot, 3D data without the need of an extension. So you don't have to have 3D Analyst in order to create a 3D map. If you do want to do some 3D analysis, though, you will still need the extension in there. But just to kind of view and look at, you don't need that with ArcGIS Pro. The two can be right there together within a single project, which is what Arc Pro uses as opposed to map documents. And yes, everybody should be seeing my desktop now. Can everybody see my desktop? Okay, yeah, it's the PowerPoint is what you're supposed to be seeing right now. I haven't gotten into a demo yet of the application. So, yeah, you should see the slide says introducing ArcGIS Pro now. Okay, very good. So I'm gonna get into a demo here in just a moment. Okay, I'm just covering some basics here. Okay. So ArcGIS Pro utilizes projects. So it goes back to the concept for those that have used ArcView 3 back in the day, those of us that are old enough to remember that. It had a concept of projects, and within a project you stored multiple maps and layouts and all that. Well, that's what ArcGIS Pro has gone back to. So now within ArcGIS Pro, we can have a single project that has multiple maps, multiple layouts, references multiple databases, all these kind of things, all within one project. We don't have to have a separate file for every map we create anymore. So that's a pretty exciting thing. That's something that we've been asking for with ArcGIS Desktop for a long time. Because we could do that. Those of us that go back to the ArcView 3 days, we could do that in the past, and now we can do that again with Arc Pro. It's going to make it easier, I think, to manage data, manage information, and whatnot going forward. So I think everybody will find that an exciting new functionality that we've got available to us. So very excited to see that. And of course, to go along with all this newness is a whole new interface that Esri's put out there. It's a ribbon interface like you see with the current versions of Microsoft Office or AutoCAD, whatnot, that I think is much more intuitive. I think a lot of new users will like it, existing users won't, but let's talk about the interface a little bit, because this is really one of the key parts of the new ArcGIS Pro. Um, it is this ribbon, and it is a smart ribbon. And by that I mean as you click on various things in our interface, different tools and tabs will be displayed within the ribbon. This is what we call contextual menus, so that if I click on a layer in the contents pane, tabs will be displayed that deal with layer controls. If I am in a layout, and then tools focusing on layout will be displayed. Okay, so it's very, very smart in that regard. It makes it easier, I think, the more I work with it, to find the tools and the information that I am interested in working with ArcGIS Pro. Now, the other thing we have that goes along with that is panes. They used to be in ArcMap, we called them windows. You had the table of contents window, you had the search window, the catalog window, and the table window, and all those things. Well, in ArcGIS Pro, we can now call those panes. So pretty much all of the panes are, or I'm sorry, all of the windows are now converted over to panes. Okay, so that's in there. All of those panes are dockable. You can dock them within there. You can undock them and move them over to another display, another monitor if you want to. You can dock them together as a group. A lot of things that do that. So these panes are in there, work well. So another thing we got to get used to is the Explorer tool. This is on the Map tab under the Navigate group here. It is really as I said up here, it's kind of the jack of all trades, because it combines the function of multiple tools we had in ArcMap into one tool, right? So with this, we can zoom in, we can zoom out, we can pan, and we can identify. So it kind of combines all those functions into one tool, right? So that we can perform those instead of having separate ones. You don't have the identify tool anymore. That's gone. You do still have some separate zoom tools, as you'll see here, and I'll demonstrate the zoom extents and scaled zoom in, zoom out, zoom previous, zoom forward. Those kind of things are still there, but a lot of what you're going to do with this one tool here, the Explore tool. Okay, so with that, let's do let's do a demo here of ArcGIS Pro, so you can really kind of delve into and see its functionality. So I'm going to go down here and click in my start bar or taskbar down here. This is the ArcGIS Pro icon, which, not to knock Esri, but I know that's supposed to be a globe inside of some sort of shield. I don't know. To me, it looks like two silhouettes of poodles standing next to one another. But I'm going to go ahead and launch the app now. Everybody see ArcGIS Pro up and running yet? Ah, okay. So good. Now it's there. Very good. Glad everybody can see it now. Okay, so when you start ArcGIS Pro, this is the first screen you'll see. This is where you open your project, so it's going to give you a list of all recently open projects. You have templates to open, new projects using these templates, whatnot. So I'm just going to click on this one, my demo project I created for the webinar. Bill, I see you're still not seeing it. I'm not sure on your end why you wouldn't be seeing it. You may want to try logging out of the webinar and coming back into it and see if that fixes it. Okay. So once you pick your project, it's going to open up. Here you'll see we've got the contents pane that is docked here on the left-hand side. Again, this is basically the same thing as the table of contents that we've had in ArcMap. Then over here on the other side is the project pane. So this is where you can manage your project within ArcGIS Pro. You can see I've got two different maps here. You can connect toolboxes in, you can connect to databases, you can have multiple layouts. All of these things are set within your project pane. You can also access your portal. Now, one thing that ArcGIS Pro does require is a connection to a portal. Now, a portal can be your ArcGIS Online account for your organization, or if you have Portal for ArcGIS installed on your network with ArcGIS Server, you can connect to it as well. So you can anyway use those. This gives you access to that. This is all the information that's through my organization. I can look at different groups that I'm a member of and access those, and then go to all portals if I have multiple portals connected. I only have one, so I don't have anything there. And then lastly, I can see any notifications that may come in throughout the course of using ArcGIS Pro. It'll pop up here. And all of this is accessed through that project pane. That's correct, Carol. You've got to have a portal in order to use ArcGIS Pro. Like I said, that can be ArcGIS Online, or it can be Portal for ArcGIS. Either one of those will work. But yeah, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, but all of your licensing for Arc Pro is actually managed or controlled through either ArcGIS Online or Portal for ArcGIS. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay. So within here, you've got, your standard list that we have had in ArcMap. So there's the list by draw order, which does the same thing. You can move, change the draw order of layers by simply dragging them up and down in the list. So that's still there. You can go and look at the source. So there's still the list by source functionality that's in there, right? So you can still get in there and see where's your data coming from. Then I can go over to list by selection. So this is going to show me what features I have selected and are they selectable and these kind of things that are there. Now, one of the other options I have over here is this is a new one, is the list by editing. So within ArcGIS Pro, there is no starting and stopping of an edit session like we have in ArcMap. You're always able to edit. You'll see up here in the menus, there's an edit tab that will then take you in and allow you to begin editing data that is editable, either a shapefile or a geodatabase feature class and those things, right? So you don't have to start and stop editing. ArcGIS Pro always allows you to begin editing. Now this allows you to go in on this list and choose which layers are editable. So you'd want to be able to control that so that you don't accidentally edit a layer you don't mean to. So you can set that up over here. We also have the list by snapping. So now you can go over here and control what layers are snappable. And then lastly, I've got a list by labeling, so I can see this kind of takes the place of the label manager that we had in ArcMap. So we can go in and control label settings and things from here. And so, I can right click, I can go to the labeling properties from here. So right click is your friend, just like it was in ArcMap and ArcCatalog. When you right click, a menu will pop up. So you can see now over here on the other side, I've opened my label class pane, right? So I can control my labeling here through that. Also, with this selected, there's a labeling tab up here that's in the main menu that I can use to also set various labeling options here. And so you can see that the feature layer contextual, there we go, tab is open for controlling things that are associated with the layer that I'm working with. So that's kind of gives you an idea of how some of that works. Again, just like in ArcMap, I can auto hide or not. I can pin in place. I can undock, so I can undock the contents tab. I can go back and dock it wherever I want to. And those kind of things are here. No, it doesn't replace Maplex. It replaces the labeling manager that was in ArcMap on the labeling toolbar. That's what that one replaces. So, okay, go ahead and close. And the panes can be closed as well. So I'm going to go back in here to my project. Come on, project, catch up. There we go. Again, I go back to my map tab. I can use the Explorer tool so that when I click on something, it does the identify. If you get multiple features, it'll allow you to pan through or go through various ones depending on where you click and what is set up as identifiable. You can also select, flash the feature, zoom to the feature, and those kind of things from the identify tool. This also allows me to, with my mouse wheel, zoom in and zoom out, right? I can pan using my mouse buttons, okay? So, and I see your question about version data, Thomas. We'll try to get to that one towards the end here, okay? And trying to get the rest of there we go. Okay, so now the project I can open, here's a 3D layer, so I'm gonna open that view or that map. So here's a 3D map I created. I've got my buildings extruded. I've got symbols for light poles and power poles in there. Again, using the Explorer tool, you can still pan around. If you use your scroll wheel, you press it down, you can rotate the view. Again, you can zoom in and zoom out using your scroll. So again, you can turn around and see all that and how it works. Things that in a 3D view, things that are listed as 2D layers are draped over your elevation surface. And those that are 3D are those that allow you to extrude them up or show them as a 3D layer, right? So you can see I've got both a 2D map and a 3D map, which then goes in, allows us to put those into different layers. So here, if I open this layout, so you see I've got two layouts in here. And these are just some layouts I pulled together quickly this morning for this. So here I've got a 2D map and a 3D map all in the same layout, so I can put those together now. I can also have, just a plain 2D map. So here's another layout. So again, you can see that I've got multiple layouts here in a single project. So you don't have to keep going back and forth. So I see some good questions coming in. Like I said, I'll try to get to those towards the end. And you'll know as you open these various maps in scenes, in layouts, they're all tabs up here at the top that allow you to easily navigate between them all as needed for those. So you can do a lot here within that. One of the nice things they've also done here is they've begun integrating some of the ArcOnline services into ArcGIS Pro, so I can do, I can get these infographics, right? So you can click on an area, it goes out to ArcGIS Pro, I'm sorry, ArcGIS Online, and it's going to pull, demographic information about that area, right? So here's the, age group, tapestry segments. I'm not really sure what those are. I can look at race and ethnicity. Right? So you can go in and access these. I do warn you that some of these tools here, these infographics, do use credits for ArcGIS Online. They do use credit for ArcGIS Online. And yes, you can link your 2D and 3D maps, so as you zoom around them, you can go in and do that. Always have to remember how to do that. But you can link those together so that as you pan and zoom together, and that's where did I put that at? Oh, it's under view. Yeah, that's right. So we can link views here to view in center. So now the two are linked. You'll see the icons up here show that they're linked, so that when oh, by the way, you can set them up so you can view them side by side, so that if I pan in one, you can see the other one moves with it. So yes, you can synchronize that. So yeah, I bounce back and forth between Arc Pro and ArcMap now, and it sometimes I get lost on where everything is. But very good. Okay. That's a good general demo of ArcMaps. I'm gonna go back in here really quickly to the PowerPoint, and what I want to do next is talk about some of the install requirements that go with it. Because it is a 64-bit app, you must have a 64-bit operating system. Okay, so that's the first requirement. You got to be running a 64-bit operating system. It will not run in a 32-bit OS. Currently, Windows 7, 8.0, and 8.1, along with Server 2008 with Service Pack 1, Server 2012, and 2012 R2 are supported. Windows 10 is not currently supported by Esri for the app. That goes for ArcGIS Desktop as well. They're hoping, last I heard, that when they come out with 10.4 and ArcGIS Pro 1.2 sometime the first part of next month, that, or not next month, I'm sorry, first part of next year, that it will be supported on Windows 10. So don't encourage anybody to upgrade to 10 yet if you haven't done so. Also, they don't currently support Linux or iOS on Arc Pro. I don't know if they will in the future. Esri hasn't really said anything about that. Not that I've found anyway. So as far as hardware, you need at least a dual core processor or better. Again, most modern computers have that, so that shouldn't be a big deal. Obviously, the more processor you can throw at it, the better. It does need a 4 gigs of RAM at a minimum. 8 or more is recommended. Again, being 64-bit, you can throw in as much RAM at it as you want. I mean, yes, there are some limits, but I don't think they're worth mentioning. Hard disk space, you're going to need 4 gigs of RAM, or I'm sorry, 4 gigs of space on it. 6 gig or more is recommended. I will tell you this, a solid state drive makes a big difference on how fast it runs and works. So I encourage you to get a solid state drive. It really will speed up the operating of all that. And you do need a good graphics card. It's got to support at least DirectX 9 or better and OpenGL 2.0 with at least 512 megabytes of RAM. So you want to take a look at that. So I have a good video card here on my laptop, so it runs pretty well on it. Obviously, the more 3D work you do, the beefier the graphics card. It eats up a lot with that, so you want to make sure you meet those requirements. So other things you're going to need to get Arc Pro installed, you're going to make sure you have the .NET framework 4.5 installed. It's got to have that. It also requires Internet Explorer 8. Whatever or above to be installed. I don't know why it requires my Internet Explorer, but it does. I don't like Internet Explorer personally, but you've got to have it on the machine to run it. Of course, if you're running a Windows machine, that shouldn't be a problem. You also have to have a connection to either, as I mentioned before, ArcGIS Online or Portal for ArcGIS. That's how all of your initial licensing is done. When you first install it, it's going to ask you to log into that account so it can check for what license you have available. Now, one of the nice things is you do not have to have ArcGIS for Desktop installed as well. You can run this on a whole different machine. So you can have ArcGIS for Desktop on one machine and ArcGIS Pro on another, but you can also run them together if you want to. And it doesn't care what level or version of Arc Desktop you have if you install them on the same machine. So I can be running a machine that has ArcGIS for Desktop 9.3 and still install the latest version of ArcGIS Pro on it. It doesn't matter. There's no issue with doing that. So they can be run side by side or completely independently, however you want to work it. Your licenses are managed through either ArcGIS Online or Portal for ArcGIS. You do have to be an administrator within one of those two and have permissions to manage those licenses. So you're going to go in and assign those. You can see that. I'll actually go into ArcGIS Online. I'm going to log in here where you can't see it, but then I'll move it over so you can. Okay. So once you get logged in, if you're an administrator through your portal or ArcGIS Online, you can click Manage Licenses here. And this is where it'll tell you how many licenses you have, what they're assigned to. Down here, you'll see who's assigned, right? And so this is where you can go in and configure and assign new licenses through this. Can there be a central admin that authorizes desktop or virtual desktop installations? I assume this a central IT user or department. I'm not quite sure I understand that question. Okay. Yes, you can use a central user to do that, assuming you've set them up in either Portal or ArcGIS Online with those permissions. But yeah, you can do that. There is also ways to do unattended installs of ArcGIS Pro. So this is where you can configure and assign those licenses in there. Yeah. So the question there that I just answered was, can there be a central IT admin who authorizes desktop or virtual desktop installations? And so the answer to that was yes, there can be that. Okay. And I see a lot of good questions. So I'm going to try to focus on those here towards the end, which we're getting up to. Once you assign these licenses, your admin assigns that, then you can connect through that. In Arc Pro, I'm going to go here, but yes, you can work. Once you do your initial login, you can go in and work disconnected. So if you go under, and I'll go back here, but if you go to the project tab, you can go under licensing here, and you can check this box, which is authorize ArcGIS Pro to work offline. So this allows you, once you do your initial login to verify the license you have available and whatnot, you can check this box here, and then that person can work offline with that. There is a warning to this in that currently there's no way to force a license check-in if somebody has that setting there. So if you lose the device or it gets stranded or whatnot, it can be somewhat problematic to get that license released. You have to basically go through Esri support to make that happen in there. But yes, you can work offline with that once you do your initial login there. There's also other options here that you can set up for Arc Pro. So you can do, default settings for your home folder and database things. You can control units. What do you want your default distance units to be when you create new projects? Including how you deal with symbology, right? So you've got symbology units you can assign as well. So there's a lot of options in here. What happens when you create a new project? How do you deal with maps and scenes? Have different options as well. And anyway, so you can go through, and as I said, there's a bunch of different options in here that you can control and set as well. So this leads into a question I think someone just asked. What's the difference between advanced and basic and whatnot? Okay, so ArcGIS Pro uses the same licensing levels that are found with ArcGIS for desktop. So you still have basic, standard, and advanced. Basic is primarily designed for viewing data, right? So creating a map, viewing existing data. There are some simple editing tools in there. But it is very limited. Your standard, again, goes back to what you have with desktop. Eventually, it will have the ability to do editing with topologies and things of that nature. And then advanced has a lot more more analysis capability. So you'll see like near analysis tools in there, erase, those kind of things. So what you see is the different functionality levels. I will admit at this point, ArcGIS Pro still being in its infancy, the differences between the licensing levels are not as great as they will be. And right now, those licenses for Pro are tied back to the licenses you have for ArcGIS for desktop. So if you purchase a basic license of ArcGIS for desktop, a basic license for ArcGIS Pro is included with that. You cannot purchase ArcGIS Pro separately. You can't just go to Esri or a business partner and say, hey, I want a license of ArcGIS Pro. You have to purchase a license of ArcGIS for desktop, and it includes a license of ArcGIS Pro to go with it. So the other part, the way this licensing works is ArcGIS Pro is kind of a subscription-based license in that you have to pay your annual maintenance fee in order to continue to have access to ArcGIS Pro. So you got to pay Esri that money every year in order to access that. As far as its interoperability with ArcMap and ArcCatalog, you can import existing MXDs into ArcGIS Pro, into an ArcGIS Pro project, so you can do that. You cannot save back out an MXD, so it doesn't read it in directly. Like I said, it will import those MXDs into ArcGIS Pro. And things created in ArcGIS Pro may or may not be readable in ArcMap. Some of the file extensions have changed and some of the formats have changed. So, good question on that. Now, there are some things, like I said, because ArcGIS Pro is still very much a beginner, well, let me rephrase that. It's still very much a new application. Esri has not had a chance to put everything into it that it will eventually have. So, for example, right now with creating or maintaining data, it doesn't work with topologies. So you can't create, maintain, validate topologies. So you can't do that yet. And the same goes for geometric networks, okay? Because parcel fabrics are built on topologies and networks, that doesn't work either. So you can't do that. And ArcPro doesn't support the personal geodatabase. Esri has been trying to kill that for a couple of years now, and they're continuing to do that. Data-driven pages currently is not there. That they do say that is coming. I don't know when, but data-driven pages is not in ArcPro yet. If you try to add graphics directly in the map, if you not in, you can still do it in layouts with ArcPro. You can still do text boxes and arrows and squares and rectangles, all that stuff in a layout, but in the map itself, you cannot do that. So there is no map annotation as of right now within a map. You can't draw rectangles in the map, those things. Again, hopefully that's supposedly coming later. So I see a good question that kind of fit. What's the difference between a map and a layout? So a layout contains a map, but a map doesn't contain a layout. A map is basically the equivalent of a data frame from ArcMap terminology. So, yeah, that's kind of the basic difference there with that. So, also, if you work with 3D data, terrains can be created but not displayed in ArcPro yet. I also found in writing my book that you can't export a model to a Python script. You could with version 1.0, but with 1.1, they removed that functionality because they claimed scripts exported from Model Builder caused too many problems and required too much tweaking, so they have gotten rid of that. I've told them they should put it back in. So if you go to ideas.arcgis.com, you can vote on my recommendation to put that back in. But and currently Python add-ins. So if you've been creating add-ins for ArcMap and ArcCatalog through Python, those are not supported in ArcGIS Pro yet. I'm not sure if they will be. Currently, you'd have to create a .NET add-in. It does support .NET, so you'd have to use that, which of course you could bundle the Python scripts into the .NET code, but you can't just use the Python add-ins like it used to be. Also, it doesn't like address locators that are stored in the geodatabase. It wants them stored out as a separate LOC file in a folder somewhere. I don't know why they don't support the geodatabase locators. That doesn't make any sense to me, but they didn't ask. So that's it. And right now, if you have a map that has both 2D, or I'm sorry, if you have a layout that includes a 2D map and a 3D map, you can't put an extent rectangle that shows, the link between the two of them. You can between two 2D maps, but not a 2D and a 3D map. So those are just a few of the things. Esri's actually published a link here that lists all the tools that are currently not available here. So you can go here and it starts going through what toolboxes are not available, and then a list of all the tools currently not provided in ArcGIS Pro. So, but they're working hard to, like I said, they're supposed to have 1.2 available the first part of next year, which is going to be here before we know it. Okay. So what I'm going to do is we'll go ahead and try to go through some of the questions that I may not answer. Do you know the plan for incorporating Arc Catalog and its functionality? Yeah, a lot of that's done through the project pane now. So if you go into here, so in this project pane, this is where you can create new maps. If you go into the database here, like this one, you can right click and go new and create feature classes, things like that. So a lot of that functionality is now being incorporated into this project pane and or through geoprocessing tools. So let's see what other questions we have out here. We'll talk about that one. Tips for another machine with ArcGIS for desktops. As far as installing it, I just install. I had no problems. It does use a different version of Python than ArcMap and ArcCatalog currently do. You may have to install. There is a way to install the Python version separately from that. So you might, if your Python did get messed up, you may want to try installing those separately and see if that doesn't work for you. Do you have to pay for Pro maintenance? And also, no. Currently, the maintenance for Pro is included with your desktop maintenance, so it's not a separate fee. It's just part of it. So can I go back through here? Does this integrate with Active Directory? Carol asks. So you're talking about the logins? What do you mean integrate with Active Directory? If you're talking about your actual logins to ArcGIS Pro, then that would be if you use Portal for ArcGIS, which you can install on your local servers to manage this, then yes, you can tap that into your Active Directory and link that up for login purposes. If you link your users through Portal into ArcGIS, I'm sorry, into your Active Directory, then yeah, you can use that to assign licenses. Directly from Active Directory, I don't think so. A single-use license of Desktop Basic does include one named user and 100 credits for ArcGIS Online. So yes, you can get access to that. Okay. Yeah, Thomas, the application is, I don't know, premature is the right word. It's still in its infancy. And part of that, I was at GIS Pro conference last week in Spokane. I was talking to some of the Esri bigwigs there, and the plan here is that unlike when they released kind of ArcGIS and kind of forced everybody over to it, they want to slowly roll out Arc Pro a little bit of time so they're not just yanking the Band-Aid off. They want people to get a chance to get used to it and slowly move to it. So like I said 3 years was my guess that they'll roll it out or begin really pushing people over to it. But that's my guess. I could be complete. It could be 5 years. It could be 10 years. I don't think it'll be that long, but it could be. Um, yes, there are tools for sharing, as you'll see here to share. There are ways to share web maps to ArcGIS Online, ArcGIS Portal. It sets this up over here. There's a whole lot about sharing in ArcGIS Pro. We can do layout files, map files, web maps, web layers, all that has been incorporated in there. Has there been any changes to Model Builder in Pro? There have been a few changes. One of those, like you can't export a model to Python anymore, but by and large, it's the same creature that you've used before. There's just minor, some graphical changes, but nothing major. Most of your models that you created in ArcMap should work pretty well in Arc Pro. How's it being used now? Why was adding 3D so important over main? So, I'm here using Arc Pro primarily to create maps. It's also a way of extending licenses to others without having to buy additional ArcMap or ArcGIS desktop licenses for folks that are just trying to create maps, do some simple analysis and all that. 3D doesn't, well, 3D is the big thing now. A lot of folks are moving there into the BIM world with City Engine. There's a lot of ooh-ah factor, so I think that's probably why they included it. Yeah, and so I said there's some issues with annotation that come out on that. Somebody did ask when would the recording be available. Hopefully we'll have it up by tomorrow, and you'll be able to get it from there. See if we have any other questions. I'm trying to scroll through. Yeah, I think somebody asked, can you view multiple layouts at the same time? So yes, just like I have the maps here side by side, you can do layouts side by side at the same time. So that is possible. Any other? No, your data can come from any source. So like I said, I've got data coming from 2 local databases here. You can connect to SDE. You can connect to web services. So you can pull basically all the same places you could pull data from with ArcMap. You can pull from into ArcGIS Pro, with the exception of topologies and geometric networks and that. Can you view multiple attribute tables at the same time? So yeah, it works very similar to the way the table view worked. See, it opens up another pane or tab in the view area here that can again be docked, and so if I want to dock it towards the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and close down some of these other things here. So, and then yes, if you open attribute table, then yeah, you can see it's the same kind of process here. And again, you can dock them so you can see them one on top of the other. So you can definitely do that. And this again, this table pane, you can move over to another display like I've just done. Not that you can see it, right? And you can actually view the tables separately. So they've gone back to, see if I just bring this and not dock it. So you can actually have the 2 tables completely separate from one another, back the way we used to do it. So it's not stuck in doesn't have to necessarily be in the same pane. is catalog on its way out with desktop? I assume that means ArcGIS Pro. My guess, again, Esri hasn't told me for sure, but my guess is they're trying to move everything into a single application instead of having to have multiple applications. So you'll see, I said most of the catalog functionality is now in the project pane or through your geoprocessing tools under your data management toolbox. So a lot of those same tools are in there. Okay. So we're getting close. Got about another minute or so. Any other questions? Well, if you'd like to learn more, we do have some training coming up for ArcGIS Pro. Our first one will be in November down in Tallahassee at the Shrug GIS workshop. Then we have some scheduled in Atlanta in February, in Raleigh in March, and Daphne, Alabama in March. So you can attend those. We also have some other webinars scheduled. So talking about managing projects, we'll talk a little bit more about connecting to some of these things, handling layouts and all that, and then creating 3D maps in January. So those are there. Of course, our Pro is not the only thing we teach. We've got a bunch of courses, and you can go find our complete schedule here at egisassociates.com/training_schedule.html. So you can see all that. Again, if you have other questions or other thoughts come up you'd like to share, please don't hesitate to contact me. There is my contact information. And I hope y'all have enjoyed this short webinar. I hope it's been informative and kind of giving you that first little intro to what ArcGIS Pro is and what it can do. It is one of those things they're constantly trying to update and change. So you'll fast see new functionality added and things like that. This is one of Esri's lead projects, so I know they're focusing hard on it there. So with that, guys, y'all have a great and wonderful rest of your day. I hopefully will see many of y'all in the next webinar. So there we go. Have a good one. I'll see y'all later.